All right, so hey guys, thank you so much for joining me today for this Express webinar session to learn more about our newest feature, actually Formula Field. So this is the first webinar of this kind that we're having in 2023. So I'm just very excited to get back to our routine and to introduce you to our new features from time to time. So today we will be spending around 15 minutes to go through about 5 examples of formula use that I have prepared for you. So before getting into that, as always, quick introduction from myself to those who are new here. My name is Deimante. I'm a teamhood coach, and my job is to ensure that all of our users are taking advantage of all the capabilities Teamhood has to offer. So don't forget that at the end of our session, I will be saving some time for the quick Q&A. So if there's just anything that you want to ask or comment on, leave your questions and comments in the Q&A box. And yeah, I will be saving some time for that, and we'll go through them after the presentation. And right now, let's just go ahead and have a look at my screen that I'm sharing with you and get to those formula use examples. So example number 1, estimation versus tracked time ratio. So in order for us to be able to compare and also to estimate how well we are doing with planning time for the tasks, we can calculate this ratio between estimation and between the tracked time. Over here, I have a board with multiple projects that each of them can be built separately. And each of them, they can have an estimation of how long it takes to complete. Once the project is completed, and I have all the time log as well, I can then go back and check if my predictions were correct time-wise. So over here, we see that I have completed projects, and I also have projects that are still in progress. So for this example, we're only going to focus on the completed ones. So I'm just going to filter out the unnecessary projects by going to our filter. And this is actually a great opportunity for me to also update you guys on minor adjustments that we made with our filtering. So most of you probably know that previously you could have been able to filter by SNE and all those metrics, but recently we've added one more metric to filter by, and that is statuses. So filtering by statuses, very convenient if you want, for example, just like in this case, if you only want to see the completed projects in this board. So I'm filtering out only the completed tasks. And over here, we can simply go through our custom field section and create a new formula field, entering formula that would be estimation divided by time that was actually tracked. So to do that, I just go to the 3 dots to the action menu to configure fields, go to the settings, and I'm adding a custom field. I will call it estimation versus tracked time ratio. When creating a formula field, basically all you have to remember is to select the field type and to make it into a formula. Once we create it, we can either start entering our formula here, or we can go back to our board and enable this new feature, this new field that we created, and click anywhere on the column over here and type in our formula. So right now I'm choosing estimation, and I'm going to divide it by tracked time. And over here, you see that the formula is showing you and suggesting you what can be done. So right now it's not complete. We cannot complete it. It shows me that some value is still expected. So I'm choosing the track time. It signals that formula is okay. I can set it and I get my ratio. But what happens right now? So I see that some of the numbers are not that pretty. I might want to round them up. So I can use rounding functionality. So going to the formula again, I just type in round, And then I just hug everything with brackets, and I also select how many numbers I want to see after the dot. So I select one number and I'm rounding it up, and you can see that everything falls perfectly into place right now. So that is it for the first example. Example number 2 is if you want to calculate the internal cost of a project, you can do that by creating a formula that would multiply the tracked time by your internal hourly rate that is specific for a project, for client, or for a task. So to do that, you just create a new custom field, internal hourly rate. I've already pre-created it for you. And you can enter the rate for how much it takes for you to complete an hour of this work for this project. It can vary depending on the project, depending on the task or the client. So over here, we have enabled the internal hourly rate. I will just hide this one. And right now we can start creating a formula. So I'm going to create a new one, and I will call it project cost. Selecting field type formula, and it's created. I will just enable it right now. And what I'm going to do, as mentioned, I'm just going to multiply the tracked time by internal hourly rate. So I'm just selecting internal hourly rate within the formula. And I'm also going to multiply this entire number by a ratio 1.1. This ratio is actually just a ratio to more accurately calculate the cost, just having in mind that sometimes somebody might forget to log in their time or any other miscalculations happen. So just to be more accurate, we can add this ratio to the formula, and this way better predict the potential cost of this task or this project. So formula seems to be okay. I set it, and I have an estimation of each of my project's cost. Example number 3, moving further, we can calculate profitability. So just earlier we had expenses or costs, and now let's say we want to see how much profit we're making from each of the tasks or each of the project. So to do that, first we will need to create another custom field that would be called customer cost, where we could add how much we bill this client per hour. So I have it prepared as well, somewhere here. So we have internal hourly rate, and then we have customer cost. And having those two fields enabled, I can now go ahead and write a formula to calculate the profitability of the task. So I'm going to create a new formula, call it profit. And the formula, my formula will look like this. I will multiply the estimation by customer cost, just selecting it from the drop-down menu here. And then from this amount, I will subtract total log time that is multiplied by internal hourly rate. So let me just type it in. Total log time multiplied by internal hourly rate over here. And I'm going to also use multiply everything by a ratio that is 0.9 in this case. So this ratio, again, allows me to have better predictions, just like in my previous example, because sometimes, you know, people that are not logging their time, they also contribute to the project still. So those people can be salespeople or accountants. And that is why we add this ratio to either increase or decrease the actual calculations and make them more precise. So I have the formula, I set it up, and I can simply enable it. And right now I can compare my project costs and my profit, and it is all calculated automatically for me. Yeah, so that is it about predictions and calculations. Next up on my example is RISE score. So for those that are not yet familiar with this acronym, RISE methodology is used for prioritizing something. So for example, ideas, it stands for relevance, impact, confidence, and effort. And when estimating priorities, all those aspects should be considered. So normally the formula for this estimation is pretty simple. So we just multiply relevance, impact, and confidence and divide everything by effort. So in this board, in this small board with features, I have an example of new features that my team is planning to implement to the tool. I'm just trying to evaluate the priorities right now, so I need the RISE score to help me do that. And here they are, all the features in a list with all the points added for relevance, impact, confidence, and effort. So it means that previously I had a meeting with my team, we discussed it, and we gave the score for each of those metrics. And now all I have to do is create a formula to calculate the RISE score. So again, I manage my custom fields. I'm going to call it RISE score and select the formula type. And what I simply have to do over here, I will just find my relevance multiplied by impact, multiplied by confidence, and all of that needs to be divided by effort. That is it. I should have the score. All I have to do is just enable it. And right now I can see and evaluate which features should be prioritized and which should appear at the bottom of my priorities list. And to do that, actually, I can even sort it out right now. So I can use sorting fields, this functionality, and I can sort it highest to lowest. And that it shows me that configuring completion mark, this feature is of the highest priority for me, whereas dashboard is of the lowest priority and should not be done first off. So yeah, that is it about the RISE formula. And another one, quite fun formula I would like to show you today is related to rounding a number up or rounding it down. So let's go back to my previous board. And let's imagine that I'm billing my clients based on hourly rates. And we have an understanding that no matter how much an hour is topped by, it still counts as a whole additional hour. So meaning if I spend 1.1 hour on a task, it's still going to count as 2 hours as I bill the client. So for my accounting team to avoid having to go through each task's time log and then check manually, if it has to be rounded up or not, I can write a formula that would do it automatically. So all I need to do here is write seal and then select the total log time. What I will do right now, I will simply enable. I have prepared this formula in advance. So it looks like this when clicking on it. I can write seal and select total log time. I set it, and you can see that, for example, over here, I have 3 hours and 45 minutes, but it rounds it up as 4 hours, or 2 hours and 30 minutes rounds it up as 3. On the contrary, if I want to round it down, so I simply change the seal formula to floor, and it will do the opposite effect. So floor, total log time, and it shows me that even though it's 3 hours, 45 minutes, but it's just 3 whole hours. So it rounds it down for me. Yeah, so very last, just a bonus example I want to share with you guys today is a conditional one. So if you want, for example, to make sure that I am not losing money on a project, I can set up a formula which would help me decide if I want to bill my clients based on estimation of time or based on the actual time that was logged. So in this instance, I will just enable it. I will going to use an if clause. Wait a second. Yeah, over here. It's over here. So if I write a formula with if, and then I write rules that if total log time is actually more than the estimation, in that case, the formula has to show me the total log time. And if this claim is not correct, otherwise, it should just show me the estimation. And that is how I make sure that even though I might estimate less hours and I track more, I will still, in this formula, I will see how I can bill the client. So yeah, those were all examples. Just one more quick disclaimer from my side. Those last formulas that I shared, ceil, floor, and if, and also round functions, they are not yet released, but they will become available in just a matter of days, in a few days. So just right now, you're getting an exclusive scoop of how to maximize formula use, but they will be introduced to general public very, very soon. So just a matter of few days. That is it. It's actually, it's pretty simple and it's very similar to what we're all used to do with Excel. So yeah, just feel free to take your time either after this webinar or tomorrow to play around with this formula field and just write some formulas that help you with your projects. And as promised, I see that we have one question in the Q&A box. So just look at that. Jessica wants to know, can I use other custom fields in formulas? Yes, sure. So right now, I've only showed you basically estimation and tracker and a few fields that I created, but it doesn't matter what kind of field you use as long as it has a field type of a number. So you can use any custom field or any predefined field of that sort. So it can be duration, it can be estimate, it can be any other field that you create and indicate as a number. Yeah, so seems like no more questions. So let's go ahead and then close today's session. We're right on schedule. I want to thank you so much for taking the time to learn more about formulas. I hope it was useful. I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, as always, just remember that if any questions arise, I'm always here to help you. So just reach out and we'll help you. So thank you again for participating, and I'll see you very soon in another one of our Express webinar sessions. Thank you, and bye-bye.